What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dusty Console channel. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm really excited for this video. First off, I always like to say anyone who's commented, liked, or subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Today, I'm excited about this video. It's an update on my Super Mario World journey. And yes, I am there. I have now beaten the level 5 Koopa, and I am on my way to the level 6 Koopa. Super stoked for that. Super stoked for that. Over the past 3 bosses, there are so many new levels that I've experienced that I have never played before in my life. So many new antagonists and characters with different capabilities that I've played. Different types of video game engineering and stuff that I've never realized before, that I'm just kind of blown away by, that the Super Mario World team and the Nintendo team did, back in the day on this console here. But if you haven't checked out any of my previous videos, I actually started this channel a little over a month ago. But I decided to start my video game journey. I haven't played video games in 15 to 20 years. Super Nintendo, specifically. It's been a really long time, guys. And I started out where it all began. I started out with Super Mario World. I've already made a video talking about my experience on the first 2 bosses. Yeah, the levels that lead up to the first boss and the second boss. So if you're interested in that video, go ahead and check it out. It talks about my experience, things that I remember about the gaming console, 20, 30 years ago. New things that I realized, as an adult. And there was a lot of eye-openers in there. There was a lot of eye-openers of things that you really don't recognize, as a gamer when you're, 6, 7, 8, and 9 years old versus when you're, in your 30s and you're starting to retro game again. So a lot of eye-openers, a lot of really cool things that jumped out to me as someone who's older in gaming now. Let's just get into this thing. So, right off the bat, you could tell that once you get to castle number 3, Lemmy's Castle, you can tell that this is going to be like none of the other previous castles. This thing is going to be hard. And all the other levels leading up to the castle weren't that bad. They were kind of the, same tiered levels as castles 1 and 2 leading up to it. But level 3, they took it totally up a notch. Right off the bat, when you enter the castle, you're greeted by this laser Koopa, Harry Potter dude, which originally I thought was probably the boss because he's teleporting. I thought this dude would just be teleporting around, when you kill him, when you knock him on the head, he regenerates, and you have to keep dodging his magic spells, his Lavando Variosas, or whatever he's throwing at you, his Abacadabras. But, yeah, I thought that he was going to be the boss, but he did not end up being the boss. After you're done kicking the Harry Potter Koopa's ass, you move into the next area, and you're met with all of these moving platforms. And if you played this game, if you made it to this area, you know that there's no way of you actually knowing or being able to figure out where these platforms are going to be, how much time you actually are able to have on a single platform. So you just die a lot. You get blasted by fireballs, crushed multiple times by these moving platforms because you really don't have a big field of view. It's a side-scrolling game. You just die. And I died many times. I played this game at least 3 or 4 days before I was even able to make it to the final Koopa boss. And when I made it to the Koopa boss, at first glance, it looked like it shouldn't be that hard. It's kind of like that game that you play at Chuck E. Cheese's. You ever been at Chuck E. Cheese and you have those little, I don't know what they are, beavers or whatnot that come out of the tubes and you gotta smash them? That's kind of what you do, except you jump on them with Mario. But to make it a little harder, there's a fireball that's kind of floating around. So you have to dodge the fireball while at the same time dodging the guys that are coming up. And you have to time it perfectly and be able to jump on the Koopa before he goes back down again. Louie. Koopa Louie. So, I died so many times, but the thing that allowed me to beat the Louie Koopa and move on, it was basically concentrating on the fireball and the location of the fireball. And as soon as the guys started to come up out of the tubes, I basically maneuvered around the fireball, jumped onto Louie, the Koopa Louie, and I was able to defeat him and move on to the next stages. But this, I think, was so far was the hardest Koopa, the hardest castle that I've had. You know, by far. It took me so many times to be able to defeat this dude, and it felt so good when I kicked his ass, and I moved on to the next castle and level stages. So let's go into that. Let's talk about those. All the new levels leading up to Castle 4 were a total new beast for me. There wasn't very many levels leading up to Castle 4. There was only 2, but both of them were really hard in their own right. I could definitely tell a difference in how the difficulty was starting to progress in these levels versus the previous levels. It was very apparent. In the first level, there was a lot of like saw blades that you were trying to dodge. You were on like this multi-tiered system, and in order to get past this stage, this level, I died multiple times. It took me a long time to be able to progress and actually get through this stage. The second stage leading up to Ludwig's Castle was pretty tough too. There were not a lot of new elements within this level that really popped out to me. There was a lot of new characters were implemented in this level, like these little groundhogs and these fire-breathing guys that were on top of these structures that could shoot fire down on you and kill you. Yeah, I mean, I died multiple times in this stage as well, and it was really hard just getting up there to Ludwig's Castle in order to be able to fight the Castle 4 boss, and it took me a while to get there, but I finally did. You know, after a while, I got to Ludwig's Castle, Castle number 4, and honestly, Ludwig's Castle should have been a lot harder to beat, but I feel like I just flew through that castle super fast. There was a lot of new elements in there that I haven't experienced before. You had these crab walker things, you had these swinging balls with spikes on them that could have killed you. There was a lot of other elements in there from previous levels that they implemented. And to be honest, Ludwig really wasn't that hard to beat. You know, he kind of spun around on the ground. You had to be able to time that, you know, jumping around him and making sure you dodged him. He also had this, you know, this bounding movement that he could do, this jumping movement, which I thought at the time it was going to, you know, kind of rumble the ground beneath Mario to where you couldn't move. But once you just made that pouncing motion, you were able to jump on him and knock him on the head, and you had to do that 3 times, and you beat Ludwig, and I beat him really fast. I think it only took like 1 or 2 times, and I was able to knock him out. So I forgot to get footage for the levels leading up to Castle number 5, guys, and I apologize for that. But overall, I'm still enjoying the experience, guys. I'm still enjoying the gameplay and just having a blast playing these old games. I'm halfway through. I finally made it, you know, further along than I ever have in a Mario game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the second half of Super Mario World is all about. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one.
Koopa number 5! Yeah! Did it, guys. Beat boss number 5. Wow.
Mario found his way through the forest of illusion and has put an end to Roy Koopa of Castle number 5.
Onward to the dangerous, the tasty Chocolate Island, guys.
Yes.
Still want to try and go back here and get that one done. Nice.